Hey, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast presented by DJ City and Beat Source. I'm one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We got DJ Never here.
Yo, what's up?
We got DJ D Miles.
Yo, what's good, what's good?
We got Jamie the Great.
Yeah.
And, we're going to have to take it back to New York. We're going to take it to NYC and the East Coast, the tri-state area, real quick. I got to speak to our regular over here, my homie, for, I don't know, almost 20 years now, co-founder of my favorite party of all time, Everyday People. He's, right, I guess I got to call him producer now. DJ producer, we got DJ MOMA here. You know what I'm saying?
What's up, fellas?
And then we got a special guest. We got a special guest, by way of New Jersey, Jersey's finest. Her name's been bubbling in the streets in NY. She's been featured in a couple Everyday People streams and even did a couple real life events with Everyday People. I think she did the last party for Everyday People for the summer. Right. She's got her own party called Tacos y Cervezas. Let's welcome Dana Lou. Dana Lou, what's good?
Yes,
thank you for coming through.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Dana, have you even heard of this podcast? Do you even know what you're on? You don't even know what the fuck this is, right?
I have, yes. I've heard of the podcast.
Okay.
I haven't got a chance to fully dive into it though. I'll be honest with you guys. But first time for everything. We're here.
It's
We're
all
here.
good.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you're busy. You just got pulled over or something. What's up with you? You're in the whip right now?
Not pulled over. Thank God. I can't get any more tickets. Had to pull over and speak to you guys. I'm really excited about this.
It's good to have y'all here. So wait, Dana, you closed out. I saw your recap on Everyday People. You did the last Everyday People for the summer pretty much. And for those of you who don't know Everyday People, if you guys been living under a rock, Everyday People is one of my favorite parties. It was founded in New York, and it's traveled all around the world, from London to Toronto to LA, Miami. It's just like the best of everything. South Africa,
yes.
Right? It's the best.
Brazil.
It's basically the best African hip hop R&B classics party there is in the world. And
Thank you.
I'm so glad we were one of the first people to introduce it to y'all. If y'all know the podcast, so I'm gonna take a little credit for that for all of us. Yeah, But Dana, I saw your recap on Instagram. I mean, you was wilding. It looked good. Like you did everything but crowd surfing shit in that night.
Wait, but she almost did. I'm gonna let Dana get into it. But we had been trying to book her for over a year, but evidently you had COVID that had shut everything down. So we had a chance to do live streams on Twitch. We did 2, and both times she burned it down in the chat. I didn't know you could burn it down in the chat, right? I just thought you DJ on Twitch, and then the chat was going crazy. And I was like, if we can feel the energy of the crowd on Twitch with this DJ, then I definitely got to get her in front of a real crowd. And for whatever reasons, we really wasn't able to do it throughout the duration of the summer. But then we had this one last date at Elsewhere, and I was really happy that she was able to do it. But to go back to the point about crowd surfing, she almost did. She dropped Father Stretch My Hands and grabbed Shernita, one of our hosts, and just went right in the middle of the audience. You know what I'm saying? And just started moshing with the audience. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to let you take it from there, Dana.
Yeah, man. First of all, Everyday People is one of my favorite events happening in New York City, well, in the New York City area. Because I'm sure you guys know, but there's other parties happening in the New York City area. But EDP definitely has my heart right now. But yeah, I've been doing this thing of just interacting with the crowd and just saying, yo, fuck it, I'm going in. I'm vibing with you guys. I'm here, I don't know what possessed me to play Father Stretch My Hands, but right? And I'm like, yo, I got to do something. I can't just stand here, So I was like, yo, I walked over to Shernita. She's the first person I looked at. And I'm like, yo, let's get in the fucking crowd. Let's go. She was like, what? I'm like, let's go now. And she came with me. And once the beat dropped, it was crazy. Jumping up and down, screaming. I lost my breath after 5 seconds, though. I'm not going to lie.
It was like a time machine because Maine, who's one of my partners at Everyday People, was like, yo, when Dana Lou dropped Father Stretch My Hands, it felt like when it came out in 2015. You know what I'm saying? You may have thought the record, it's never truly a washed record. That one always goes. but it's just a function of how well DJs play it. I don't think it could have been played any better because she dropped it from the top, from that very first. So it gave her like a good 30 seconds to get in the crowd. So you had to watch the whole thing. She came off the stage, grabbed Shanita, walked in the middle of the crowd, and then everybody knew what was going to happen next.
And Shanita's like the head. She's like literally kind of like the choreographer, the dancer, in charge of all the dancers at Everyday People, which is a big part of the party. You know what I'm saying? Which really brings the energy and the culture with all the dances that she brings.
Yeah, that's right.
Shanita.
She used to just come to Everyday People when we were at La Marina, and she brought so much energy to the stage. And I was like, Shanita, I feel guilty that you're doing this for free. Like, I could pay you for this. She was like, what? I said, I could pay you. I can give you complimentary drinks, a guest list for your friends. She was like, are you shitting me? I was like, no, that's what hosting is. And, you know, that was in 2015, you know, and so she's been an instrumental part of Everyday People since then. And now, you know, the dancers are a real part of what we do.
Is it weird? Is it weird now that like you were talking about Father Stretch Your Hands and, you know, playing it like it just came back? It's been a weird year of just music in general. Like I was just talking, I think New York's different from Vegas, but I was talking to everybody in Vegas. We was like, yo, there was no song of the summer in Vegas. Like for us, like as far as a record, you know?
We have a strong Afro-Caribbean crowd. So obviously we had Essence and Gallus, which was crazy. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, I was having this conversation with Dana the other day. People just want to rage, man. People just want to rage. I played We Them Boys and it went off.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I had forgotten about that record. I had just seen it in my crate. I was looking for something. It was the right BPM. I was like, fuck it. And it was huge.
That was in your crate. That was in your crate by accident, though. It's not like you meant to put that, like you dragged that shit in. No one sees that record and says, I'm going to play that tonight. That's going to go off, yo. That was an accident.
Yeah, I had a crate from like 2014 or 2015 or whenever that record came out that I looked into because I was stuck. I was looking for old Drake because like the thing about Drake is anything from Drake goes, you know what I'm saying? New or old. And I found that. I found Cashing Out. I found a whole bunch of shit from that era. And I just started going crazy with it. And people just want to rage. And I've been playing like commercial EDM, Beautiful People by Chris Brown, 212, Azalea Banks.
Yeah, that's
obviously we found
still a
Love by
sleeper
Rihanna.
record.
Songs that people don't expect to really hear at Everyday People, but they've been going crazy. And I mean, Dana, I know you'd be doing like a slightly different circuit because you do a lot of stuff uptown, which has its own energy. So what's been really going off uptown? There's a whole like reggaeton and dembo, and there's a whole nother vibe up there.
God. There's this record called Uva. It's sung by R.O.A.D. He's a Dominican artist out in the Dominican Republic. That right there that's like the Gallus, I guess, song of the summer. Tokisha's been ringing off crazy too. Like I like to call her, if you guys don't know who she is, I like to call her the Dominican Little Kim.
Wow.
Because if you guys don't know, like the Dominican Republic is a very conservative country. So you know, like women like have to like be covered up, and you can't really be like putting yourself out there like that. But she doesn't care. Like she's her own woman. She doesn't care. She's literally the Dominican Little Kim, and he's like the biggest thing out right now in DR. So she has a record called Tuku Naso, something like that. It's with another artist called Cheriscom.
Yo tengo un novio que mujeriego, me cojo todo y lo cuero con él. Y tengo un padre que se empatilla y se tranca en la cabaña con su mujer. Una mañana de cingatera, la invito a fumar weed. Cuando le subió la nota, le dio la gota y gritaba así.
Crazy. So a lot of like them Bowl records been hitting. Bad Bunny, of course. Bad Bunny's always gonna hit.
Yeah.
No matter where, right?
So we know very well about Bad Bunny. Yeah,
too well.
You're
so Dana, that's your background. You're Dominican.
You're Dominican. Yeah, I was gonna ask. Yeah.
Yes, I'm Dominican. Mom and pop's Dominican, but you know, Dominicans are black. I'm black.
Yeah, I saw you taking notes when she was listing all the Dembow records and the Dominican.
How did you know?
I saw you. I saw you scheming.
To that shit.
I was like, hold on, she's dropping gems.
I saw him scheming like the dude, like the DJ who's hanging out in the back with the Shazam on. That's what he looked.
I was trying to be.
He had that. Face
I was trying
on.
to be cool. I was trying to be cool and just think about it, and hopefully you remember after we done, and then write it down.
Because I know.
Everyone on the screen had the Shazam face on. Like,
The phone up,
what's
yeah.
this?
Dominican little Kim. Okay.
I'm telling you guys, she's so okay because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Latin Billboard Awards just happened. If I'm not mistaken, somebody please correct me.
Recently, yeah.
Came out.
And she was being interviewed by like this guy, by a reporter, and she said that something like she's the queen of like all vaginas, something like that, like something crazy.
Nice.
Like just things that Latin artists normally just don't say, especially like the Latin artists.
I heard about Tokisha a while ago, but right now she's getting a look because she has a song with Rosalia and J Balvin.
Yes.
Oh, 2 different songs, one with J Balvin, one with Rosalia, and then she had the other one by herself. It was Tucanazo. Yeah.
Tucanazo. Yep.
Yeah. Isn't there like a beef between like J Balvin right now and like Calle 13 or something like that? Like there was some shit that J Balvin, like something happened, right? I think I saw Calle 13 on Instagram a couple days ago, like talking shit to J Balvin or some shit, like saying he's like a fucking hot dog vendor of reggaeton or something. Some shit like that. That's what I don't know the details. You know what's going on?
I haven't fully dived into it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if any other DJs have. I don't like to dive into stuff like that too much. It takes up too much of my energy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm wondering what was going on. I was like trying to research this shit, but it wasn't like clear. And then J Balvin came out with a bunch of hot dog merch or some shit. That's what.
I don't know if that's true.
No, he did. Like he came out with like hot dog merch to like troll the motherfucker, saying he's a hot dog vendor or some shit.
That's kind of hard, man.
That's funny. He's trolling.
Well, that's when you know reggaeton's getting big, when motherfuckers are shitting on each other, right? Because when it's small, when it's small, like everyone's like kind of like, yo, we gotta make this shit pop. Now it's getting to a point where motherfuckers are beefing like that. It's kind of good.
It's the same in Afro beats, you know, Davido beefing with Wizkid.
Yeah.
Burna Boy beefing with Wizkid. Then they make up and then they beef again. But to your point, yeah, it shows that the genre is booming.
Yeah, they had an Afrobeats fest here in Las Vegas, and like I couldn't go. I just didn't make it. Yeah, I think Silent
was
had
4 days.
I was
The one that was at Dre's.
Yeah, well, it was not only Dre's. It was like Area 15.
Dre's Daylight had one. What's up?
Oh, okay.
It was like in different venues. MOMA, you were supposed to go. You were like booked for that shit, right?
How can I say this?
The money wasn't right.
No, the final papers didn't come in time, right? And we had already decided to do Everyday People double header that weekend. So the last weekend of the summer, we was only supposed to do Knockdown Center on September 25th. And then elsewhere, there was the additional date, the infamous 926, where Dana Lou shut it down. So when that opportunity came up, you know, I was talking to my partners to Sinclair and Maine, and they were like, yo, you think we could do a back-to-back? Do you think we could sell 3,500 tickets in one weekend? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. We'll say it's the end of summer. We'll shut it down. And that whole package for the double header as the last weekend in New York, you know, by the time they got back to me, I was like, I'm sorry, guys. You know, the train has left the station. We're doing other things now, you know. So hopefully I get to work with them again. So it's just no shade or nothing. It's just that we had our own thing happening here.
Did you
so it didn't work out.
Wait, did you big time them and shit? Did you big time them?
I didn't. You know, they came back with the final papers.
It sounds like
late.
It sounds like you kind of big timed them a little bit. But maybe
a little bit. The man already had his thing in the movement.
In order to reserve a date, you know, you got to put down a deposit or what have you, and then whoever manages your affairs, they just block it off on the calendar, right? Okay, unfortunately, that didn't happen.
I'm not trying to start nothing. I'm just, you know, it sounded like it, so I wanted clarity. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but by all accounts, it was a success. They did not need me. They did not need DJ MOMA or anybody. Yeah. It was lit. You know, they had DJ Tunes. They had my man Young Prince on the mic. All the dancers that hang out with us in New York was flown out there to do their thing on stage. Mm-hmm. All the biggest artists out there. I saw Techno, Wizkid performed.
Yeah.
It looked lit. It looked like there was a lot of culture in Vegas for once.
For once. You know? Yeah. For once. It was. Yo, so like everyday people, you know, Dana with your tacos and cervezas, like, you know, during events this year, you know, now that we're kind of at the end of the summer, some events have passed throughout the months. You know, MOMA, I've talked with you behind the scenes. It seems like, obviously up front, you know, it's like everything's cool, everything's all right, kind of, but I know behind the scenes it was kind of chaotic, right? Just like I know in LA and Cali and certain cities it was like there weren't venues open. There was like all these like confusion on regulations and protocols and shit like that. And I know MOMA, I mean, for a couple weeks, if not a couple months, the comment section in the Instagram of everyday people was nuts. It was like I went for the first time I was seeing everyday people post about, you know, the event. It would be just a flyer post, and it was like thousands of comments, hundreds of comments from anti-vaxxers, like, what? Vaccination only? What? Negative test? All of this shit coming up. And I remember talking with you before. You were like, yo, man, we're just going to go the super safe route and see what happens. And Dana, I saw you guys had tacos and cervezas in Orlando that you had to cancel maybe in August, right? Or something?
Yeah, unfortunately, that took a really big toll on me because that was going to be a really big one. We were supposed to host it at Celine. It's one of like the best venues out in the downtown Orlando area. But, you know, the COVID cases were just extremely too high. And I didn't want to put like any of our crowds from the New York area going down there in danger.
Yeah. Because,
you know, Florida's gonna Florida. Like, they don't care down there, you know? Sorry to say that, but I was also participating in like the town hall meetings with like Advent Health. It's like one of the major hospitals in the Orlando area. And they were saying, listen, like for Labor Day weekend, we're projecting that cases are going to be triple than what they are now. So it was a really tough decision that me and my partner had to make. But, you know, for the safety of our supporters and friends and family, we decided to pull back, unfortunately. Yeah,
but because you guys, both of you guys having your own parties, right? You have to have the response. I mean, you guys are DJing it and everything, and it's all a party and it's all good. But I don't think motherfuckers understand like the responsibility you guys have because of basically your following. You have to care for their health. You have to like look out for them and make sure you're creating a safe environment for that shit. I know, Mo, that was a big fucking deal with you when you were talking with me and all the fellas about relaunching Everyday People this summer.
You want to look out for the health and wellness of the people that are going to attend. That's no question. But you're also limited by the local laws and the mandates, you know? So a lot of times that takes all the guesswork out of the equation. In order to get started in New York back in June, if you wanted to have an event that was not socially distanced and without mask wearing, I'm never going to an Everyday People that's socially distanced. It's stupid. It makes no sense, right? And I don't even want to be wearing a mask outdoors. In order to do an event without both of those things, it had to be fully vaccinated. So when we got out the gate with the first two events, that's what the mandates was.
That's what New York. Yeah. New York was telling
you. And later on that week, actually during that same week, after we started promoting vaccine only, they changed it to vaccine or negative test. Wow. But we had already promoted vaccine only events. So how do you tell the people who bought tickets, oh, we're bringing these other people to the dance now, right? So we're like, let's just stay with this mandate for now. And we caught heat for that because people were like, well, I'm supposed to be able to pull up with a negative test. I said, I know, but we already sold vaccine only to a couple thousand people. So let's just leave it at that. And then the next set of events, we went vaccine or negative test per the mandates.
Right.
And then in August, they changed the mandate when it went back to vaccine only. And so we had to change again. And then we caught more heat for that. But I feel like people thought we were making up the laws. We were just following whatever, like the city of New York. And obviously, we're not trying to say get vaccinated or don't get vaccinated. We're trying to say that until we can find a space for all Black people to commune, it's better to be able to throw a party for some of the people than none of the people, you know? And that's why people were beefing with us. They were like, y'all are being elitist. this is medical elitism. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, like if we can find a space for 2,500 people to jam and only 2,000 can come, then that's what it's going to be. Also, we got to feed ourselves, right? Like we got families, we got bills, we got rent, but some people want to. So I wasn't even really tight about the whole vaccine versus anti-vaccine argument, because I get it. You can be on either side of that, right? For me, it's people who just had the audacity to say, y'all should shut shit down until we can all party together, you know? And I was just like, nah, that's not going to be the case. If we can make 2,500 people happy and provide joy to a segment of the community, then let's do it. And then at some point, everybody can come back to the dance and it'll be even better.
Let's rewind to the first flyer you put up, right? That was vaccination only, right? All the comments, like a majority of the comments was like, I guess I ain't going to go. I'd be like, well, I'm not going. I guess I ain't fucking with everyday people no more. Like if they're going to move like this. Was that a little scary? Like was it, like even with you, Dana, did you, I don't know if you did any Taco Cervezas in New York or any events, but like if you did vaccination only, like it must, for me, if I had owned a business and I was advertising and I saw the comments and I was like, oh shit, look at all these negative comments and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit would kind of like fuck with me in the same sense. I
wasn't that concerned because, you know, it's always the loud minority that's the loudest. Like if you have 150 negative comments, but 3,500 likes, you know, you got to look at that ratio. It's just the people that's with the shits don't want to say nothing. They ain't got time for the, you know, for the controversy. But the people that's not with the shits, they the one who got time. They got all day. You know what I'm saying? They're going back and forth. And in my mind, I was like, let's not say anything. Let's let the community regulate itself. You know, people who are like working at hospitals or people who had vaccine hesitancy were all in the chat, you know, commenting, starting a discussion. And I liked it because it was a lot of engagement, you know,
of course.
And then the parties were selling out quick, fast, like faster than they ever had. In like 2 hours, you know, 1,200, 1,300 tickets gone. And I think a lot of that had to do with the engagement, that a lot of the people that was like, I don't fuck with everyday people. It's going to be empty. It's going to be just y'all. And then people replying back to them like, why you sound like you hating from outside of the club? And that whole kind of like communication that was going on was bringing up the flyer in the algorithm, and the party's just selling out dumb fast. You know?
That's the biggest confirmation, right? When it comes to sales, if the sales is coming in and if it's selling out in 2 hours, then you already know.
And one more thing.
Yeah.
It got younger. It got so much younger, like almost by like 4 or 5 years, just huge, you know, because a lot of the people that are like into health and wellness and like holistic lifestyles, that shit you get into later on in life. People start reading up on Dr. Sebi when they're 30. Right. They start like truly implementing it when they're 35. And then by the time they're 40, you know, you call them quote unquote hoteps. I don't know if that's a bad word or whatever, you know, but
kind of is, but
it is. It might be a bad word.
A little bit.
You know.
Wait. Can you break this down? What is this? Hoteps?
What is
hotep?
Is it hotep? Well, I think it comes from the word Imhotep, which was like an ancient Egyptian semi-prophet. You know,
so something like that. Yeah.
The word Imhotep kind of, it represents knowledge of self, and, you know, I guess for lack of a better word, knowledge of self, and your third eye is open, right? Y'all ever heard that? My third eye is open.
Yeah.
So wait. Should I stop saying hoteps, or should I not say that, or what is that?
Well, if there's somebody that you consider to be a hotep, do not call them a hotep.
Okay,
you know,
but I can say this shit. Right?
It just sounds bad overall.
It's not like me saying chink or something, right? It's not like that.
It's not like saying no. It's not. No, it's not as bad.
Some people might be offended by it.
Okay. Wait. So these are the motherfuckers who don't. If they have a headache, they don't take an aspirin, right? Like they like suck on some mint leaves or some shit like that. Is that what this
I mean, I don't know what they do, but they preach a holistic, organic lifestyle,
you know what I'm
alternative
saying?
medicine. My point was that the older segment of the everyday people, you know, I guess attendees who subscribe to an alternative medicine lifestyle, which I get, you know, I fucks with it. It has a lot of benefits. they weren't able to come, unfortunately. And then younger people, like college grads who get vaccinated every 6 weeks to live on campus anyway, right?
Yeah.
They was just like, just stick it in my veins. Where the party at? And so I looked up in June. I was like, this crowd is so damn young. And it made it, I'm going to keep it a whole buck. Vaccinated people are more straight, more square, more, I'm not going to use the word basic, but the unvaccinated people, them's just the cool motherfuckers, man, because they experiment with everything. Drugs, piercings, sexuality. They experiment with everything except for vaccine.
It all makes sense. And so I never heard it put that way, but that makes so much sense.
Of everyday people between July 4th and August 15th, where we were able to do vaccine or test, I think those were like the best parties of the summer because we were able to have everybody from the community. You know what I mean?
Moma, I had a question. Did you have to shift the music because of the drop in age?
Yeah, because the young people, they all kind of came up with Afro beats, you know, and they all kind of came up with a lot of the dance hall and a lot of the soca. So I was able to do that. But like the really deep R&B classics, really deep, like we used to do, I really had to lay off of that. I used to do these kind of like black rock sets when my crowd was more like industry. You know, I play like Kanye, Black Skinheads. I play Kenna, Say Goodbye to Love, into Nirvana. All of that, I just kind of had to shelve the more eclectic stuff. But still, like, to me, I'm all for youth. You know what I'm saying? I'm always pushing for youth. So if you can maintain your crowd at a certain age or get it younger, that's going to bode well for your party. You're going to be able to, like, I mean, that was the 10th summer of Everyday People. And I don't do anniversaries because I don't want to age a party, but you're not supposed as a party to last that long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then attract a younger demographic, which is
in the process. Yeah.
Which is very hard to do.
That's because we play hip hop. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people that age out, the old heads, you see them on Twitter. They're anti-Drake. They're anti-Travis. I'm like, they're anti-Lil Baby. I'm like, yo, you just pissing in the wind, my boy. Like, you got to get with the times. That's like the language of the youth. That's what they're into. At the last Elsewhere, when Dana was on the roof, I was downstairs in the club. I ran like 6 or 7 songs from Certified Lover Boy. Yeah. You know, I played the entire second half of Champagne Poetry.
Oh, really?
It hit. You know, I just wish it had a beat that dropped like International Players Anthem. It would have made it perfect, right? Nice. I played Poppy's Home.
Right. Daddy's,
huge. That is No New Friends in the Industry or some shit like that. Right. Obviously, Way Too Sexy. And I even played TSU. TSU's
popping. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
TSU's definitely popping.
TSU's the shit. That's like my favorite song on the fucking album, man.
So anyway, you want to keep your crowd young, keep them vaccinated, and play Drake.
Dana, how was it with you with your party, and then just like navigating through the city and shit like that? Was it just like a headache? Did you have to do vaccination only and everything?
Oddly enough, we haven't done any parties since after May. We kind of did like a spring series with the Bronx Brewery. So that was like before all of the mandates, like serious mandates started happening.
Yeah.
So we haven't dived into that yet. However, you guys are getting a exclusive listen on this. We're going to be doing our next Tacos y Cerveza on November 6th.
November 6th. In New York?
Nice.
Yeah, we haven't announced it yet, but I just announced it right now.
Wait, what day of the week is that? Is that a Saturday?
That's a Saturday. That's a Saturday.
Okay, good, because I might need you on Sunday, but we're going to get into that later. We're going to get into that later.
Wait, so what is Tacos of Cervezas? What is that party? What are y'all playing? Like, what's the dynamic over there? Yeah.
Yo, our crowd, they want to hear everything. They want to hear Jersey Club. They want to hear Baile Funk. They want to hear Trap. They want to hear Dembow, of course. They definitely want to hear soca. It's weird because it's like our demographic is like a lot of like Latinx people. But those are the type of Latinx people that want to hear soca. They want to hear Caribbean music. They want to hear Jersey Club. They don't want to hear the typical, I guess, like uptown sets that one would hear up there. You know, they get weird and funky, and they want to jump up and down while eating tacos and catching a waistline with a girl or a guy, whatever you're into. You know, so Our crowd is very fun.
That's
very
dope.
fun.
It's weird that your party is called Tacos y Cervezas because like growing up in New York, right? Like I could never find a good like tacos. Like there was nowhere to get tacos. Like so for me.
Yeah, how did you guys come up with the name?
Yeah. So
too?
for me, for tacos to be in the title of a New York party sounds crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We come up with the name. So shout outs to my business partner / best friend Aliana.
Yeah.
We would always grab tacos like after school together, like always, and
really?
even like. Like when we went.
Where would you go to get them?
Where would you go get tacos now? Like, put us on the game. What's up? Where's this tacos and
There's
shit?
this specific truck. It doesn't have a name. It's just this specific truck on 96th Street. It's in the Upper West Side.
Right by my crib. I live on 97. It's on Broadway though, right?
Yeah, literally on Broadway.
I see it all the time. Yeah, I see it all the time.
Yeah, that truck has been there for years, like years.
You're Cricket. How you missed that, man?
Yo,
that's just right there. Your block.
I'm telling you, like it doesn't look like legit. It looks like some shit. Like no. It looks because I think of like New York and I'm like taco truck. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like what was that? Like I'm not gonna eat that shit. That shit look crazy.
Yeah, that's the neighborhood I grew up in.
Really? You're from the Upper West?
Yes, I'm from the Upper West Side.
Oh shit, we're like fucking neighbors. That's crazy. So you went to PS 163 when you was growing up?
PS 75.
PS 75. All right.
Yeah, so as we got older, we started drinking beers. Like her and I, we would go like after parties to get like beers and tacos. And I'm like, yo, why don't we just throw a party called Tacos y Cerveza? Like I think people will love it. She was like, yo, let's run with it. So that's kind of how we got the name. Just sharing that bond with each other over tacos and beer.
That's dope.
How long y'all been doing it?
We've been doing TYC since 2015. However, since I was in college and focused on that, we kind of took a break and then we started it up again in 2018. So we've been consistent since 2018.
So you got a good 2 summers out of it until COVID hit.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're coming back in November strong.
We just did a collaboration series with the Bronx Brewery. They gave us like our own beer. We did like a beer collaboration with them, which was very, very cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was great. That turnout was great. Every single weekend was packed. I'm not sure if the other DJs throw events, but MOMA, you know how it is. Yo, I'm at the door. Can you come get me? Like it's crazy, So
November 6th, right, is the next one. Do you get the same taco truck to host your event, or is it like where's the tacos coming from?
No, we usually find like a private caterer.
Okay.
To like tacos for us. Yeah, that way we're not handling that stuff.
I got a question about Orlando. You said we were talking about how you had to cancel Orlando and shit.
Yes.
Why Orlando? Because like I was talking to my boy back in the day, and I was like, I noticed just like, yo, I don't see Puerto Ricans no more, right? Like I don't see as many Puerto Rican people in New York anymore. Because I visit from Vegas, right? So I come back home and I'm like, yo, where's all the I feel like I don't see any Puerto Ricans anymore. Like there's no Puerto Ricans. And he's like, yo, they all moved to Orlando. So I was like, yo, is Orlando like a big mecca for like Dominicans and Puerto Ricans right now that you would throw a Tacos y Cervezas over there? Or like what made you choose Orlando?
So actually that's my first time ever hearing that. I do now that you say that, I do have a lot of cousins that have migrated over there. So
right.
That makes sense. But actually we have some homies down in Orlando that moved from New York down there. And they're like killing Orlando scene down there. And they're like, yo, like let's bring it down here. We think it'll be great. So essentially what we wanted to do was we wanted to set up like a little weekend tour. We wanted to do Orlando and then Miami the next day. However, the Miami thing didn't end up working out because I don't know, the Miami area is like really small and like there weren't that much venues that were gonna like give us the date because it's Labor Day is a busy weekend. Right. Everyone's doing something Labor Day weekend. So it was very difficult for us to find a venue in time. So we put the pieces together for the venue in Orlando. We had some homies help us out and they were excited, man. I was excited too. That was going to be a really dope one, but unfortunately we're back on it. So.
Well, we looking forward to November 6th.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Dana, you said that one of your formats for your party is Jersey Club. You have a background in Jersey Club, correct?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I saw one of your brother room sets, and you were like just killing it.
Oh,
and it was really refreshing because I'm not used to seeing, I guess like a Black or Latino crowd like really party into Jersey Club. You know what I mean? There's a stigma, at least on the West Coast, that's like a white thing a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, you wouldn't know it, but on the West Coast, Jersey Club, we were trained to think like Italian, like that whole market, like Jersey Shore market. They love the Jersey Club shit. You know what I mean? So that was so in your ballroom set, I was like, damn, this is ill. Like watching this dope DJ just kill this Jersey Club shit. You know what I mean?
Dane, I'm gonna let you run with that one, but it's 100% Black art form out here.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, Jersey Club, Baltimore Club, Philly Club, all this club music.
I feel like on the West Coast, there's a stigma that it's not.
Well, I think
so. I'm glad we can talk about this.
Yeah, but it's like Baltimore Club in the early 2000s. You know, it was getting introduced. I feel like to the West Coast by white DJs who were remixing their own kind of shit. So I think a lot of
like Diplo.
Yeah. And I think
the Diplos, the 4Bs. You know what I mean? Like that's the face of it. In the eyes of the West Coast person, you know what I'm saying?
So like for the West Coast with Jersey Club, you know, it's definitely a lot of like white producers, white DJs who are remixing Jersey Club remixes, and they're getting introduced to Cali. So I think in the West Coast it has that stigma, but it's not. It's
we got our own people flying the flag out here, man. Like DJ Unique. I think she was just
Unique is killing
on the cover or in DJ Mag.
Yeah.
Chloe sampled one of her songs for that new single that she got, Chloe and Haley. So we got faces that we're able to like attach to the actual sound to remind us that it's 100% a Black art form here. It hasn't been whitewashed yet, you know.
Yeah, essentially.
He said yet though. He said yet.
So
you know the whites.
Is this still big out in New York, Jersey Club?
I think it's huge with like kind of like the younger crowd, you know, under 30. It's become like integral to the DJ nights. Kind of like when we introduced soca to our sets in like the mid 2000s. Yeah. All the younger DJs are introducing Jersey Club as like the high energy, the super high energy. Because you gotta understand, soca doesn't go off everywhere, you know. Yeah. Not all of them little parties in Bushwick and like Ridgewood and those parts of Brooklyn that are maybe like a bit more hipster. I don't know what they call hipster nowadays, but and also like in Lower Manhattan, some of those places soca is not part of the equation, but Jersey Club kind of brings that same, you know, 80 BPM, 160, 150 BPM kind of energy, and you know, and they flip everything. They flip all the current songs into Jersey Club, so it's not like just some random underground shit, you know.
What's like the top 5 Jersey Club songs for you, Dana? Bangers. Wait, before you say that, make sure you look at these 3 motherfuckers' faces while you do that. They will be taking notes.
I got my short hands. I could be writing it down right now.
So, okay, I'm going to say this off rip. This is in no order. I don't want to get in trouble because I actually personally know these guys that I'm going to mention.
Okay.
So this is no order. DJ Big O, pop that.
What you twerking? Bounce that dumb pop. Champagne, they know the face and they know the name. Drop that. What you twerking? DJ Big O, DJ bounce. What you twerking? Bounce. Work, bounce. What you twerking? Bounce. Work, bounce. What you twerking? Bounce. Work, bounce. What you twerking? Bounce.
I'm sure all of you guys have heard that. They still play that to this day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unique did a remix to Skepta's record.
I don't know why man's calling me family all of a sudden. Like, my mum don't know your mum. Stop telling man you're my cousin. I got day ones and I got new ones. No fake ones. Trust no one. This boy better know till I die. Gang, root in the 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 gang.
Amazing. Top 5. I Marquise, his Blocky D remix. Sick.
I'm Marquis, baby.
Natus, who's actually, I consider him like a mentor to me. He has a remix. He remixed Kanye's record. It's called "Send It Up." That's a really good one. How much did I mention? 4? I have
4,
one.
yeah.
One more.
One more. Damn. I'm gonna say DJ Taj's Disclosure Latch remix. I hope I don't get in trouble, man.
You got 75% of the listeners of the R.O.A.D podcast on Google right now. Googling everything you just mentioned.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna add a 6th one. I'm gonna throw my own record in there.
Please do.
It's actually an original record. It's called Best Friend. I'll send it to you guys. It's by me and DJ Hook.
If you with your best friend, point her out. Best friend, point her out. You with your best friend, point her out. If she got that donkey. If you with your best friend, point her out. Best friend, point her out. You with your best friend, point her out. If she got that donkey. Point her out if she got that donk. Point her out if she got that donk. Point her out if she got that donk. She got that. She got that donk. Point her out if she got that donk. Point her out if she got that donk. Point her out if she got that donk. 3, 2, 1. She got that donk. 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 Yeah.
If you want our listeners to fuck with it, we'll put a link in the description so they could download it if you want for them.
No problem.
Okay. What do you call it? Yo, so Dana, I know you've worked with Mo, right? And on our last podcast that MOMA was on, you know, he talked about, you know, how he was going to approach the DJ lineup for Everyday People this year. You know, and he spoke a lot about how he's not going to book, you know, these DJs who he has to save or he has to like over micromanage because they're going to lose the room or they're going to lose the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Or they go in too early. They don't respect the next DJ. You know, they playing for themselves and not for the room and not for the vibe.
Or they show up 10 minutes before they set and they each repeat the same songs. Right. That's the worst.
So basically MOMA was against the 10 DJs being booked at an event, like kind of thing, and just stacking on these DJs, kind of like, oh, well, you know, everyone has a following. They're going to bring their crowd. And then if we add, 20 plus 20 plus 20 times the DJs that are here, we're going to have a decent crowd show up. Like almost like lazy promoting in a certain way, right? Is what was happening. But, he changed that this year. So I was just wondering, for you to be on the Everyday People is kind of like an honor. It means like, yo, you can hold the room down, and he likes you as a DJ and everything. And I was kind of, working with Mo, and Mo, I want you to kind of add to this. Like, have you had any backlash from DJs or any DJs throughout the year that you normally would have booked that you didn't book this year? Like, was it a stern diss? What, like, how was it?
Not at all, because the thing when Everyday People first came back, it's an event for everybody to attend, including DJs, right?
And wait, so just for the record, you did the first couple of Everyday Peoples, you did all like 8 hours, or I don't know how long.
Yeah, the first 3, I DJ'd the entire event, because there was one thing that I was concerned about. It's like nobody has really been doing events for 18 months or 16 months, right? So nobody had been in front of an audience. And a lot of people had been on Twitch, which is great. Like they got to go in like some bags. They got to go deeper into certain bags. But that doesn't really inform what you do in front of an audience. So the last thing I wanted was like this disjointed set of like 6 or 7 people just shaking off the rust, And I thought, because I have more experience, at the very least, even if it's somewhat basic, I can do something that's going to hold a room together for 6 or 7 hours with an arc that's going to make sense. It also really did it because I wanted to be able to introduce Amapiano in a way that makes sense. And the way to introduce Amapiano in a way that makes sense is to play during the 6th or 7th hour. But you got to keep everybody until that point, and then they get it. So I did that for the first 3 or 4. And then eventually I was like, all right, I feel like the musical identity of Everyday People is back in place. And it's time for me to like reintroduce my favorite DJs, the ones who've come to Everyday People this summer, who've seen what I've been doing, like Rich Knight, Fannie Mae, Silent Addy, Dana Lou, Millhouse. I forgot who else I booked. We booked N Blue Jr., a collective of DJs that I trust to just not go ham and play Essence and Gallus every hour on the hour, And I think it worked out really well. And eventually at some point I ran out of steam too, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to hold these rooms over for like 7 or 8 hours. And emotionally, it's a lot of work, right? Because you can't be up there all blasé. You really got to give it to people so they feel like this is exciting to you as well. As I was running out of steam, I was like, all right, now's a good time to bring back all my favorite DJs. The one DJ I couldn't get, I tried really hard, schedules didn't align, is Get Live.
Get Live.
Initially I had Dana and Get Live booked for one event. I was like, this is going to go so crazy. I forgot the date, but it got canceled. Oh, September 12th.
Can I tell you that Get Live did a set in Vegas, and I think most of us were over there for that, and he fucking crushed that shit. He murdered.
Yeah, he had an
shit.
amazing set.
Yeah, so
it was crazy.
Hey yo, I gotta say something, man. His mic voice is insane. Like that motherfucker's mic voice is crazy. Like I was like, whoa, he sounded like Kid Capri, like a 2021 Kid Capri. I was like, oh shit, he sounded good.
Mic game, selection. Technically with the cuts, timing, he's the complete package. And I think he's too humble.
He's too humble. I'm gonna tell you,
I think he's better than 99.9% of the DJs in New York, and he's just too humble.
I'm gonna tell you right now, as far as a DJ that can play old school classics, beat breaks, like I've heard him play salsa. I played him on live stream. I mean, he's probably one of the top tier DJs that I'm like, this motherfucker's nasty. He's maybe one of the best that I've heard in a long time coming from New York.
I agree.
Shout to Get Live. And what I heard in Vegas, what he did with this all Latin crowd, and he just effortlessly went through different genres and hit them, and he just dropped records that I was like, holy shit. Like who drops, Calleita from the one, but makes it sound good, doesn't lose the energy of the crowd, just dropped it. I was like, oh shit. He was just killing it with his mic game and everything. And shout to him, man.
Summer 2022. I'm not hoping, but I'm assuming that COVID is going to be endemic. It's just going to be a part of life. And at that point, if you're vaccinated, you're vaccinated. If you're not, you're not. And, there won't be any vax mandates or testing mandates because it's just going to be endemic. And it's going to be the viral load is going to be so low that you just get COVID and you get sick. It's a cold or it's the flu. That's what I'm hoping, because the vaccination versus not vaccination, it's creating a lot of barriers and separations. And
it's just typical for what's going on in America for the past 4 or 5 years, pretty much. It's just it's affecting pretty much everything. But yeah, I mean, back to what you were talking about, Mo, pretty much, with the whole lineup. Dana, I saw a tweet that you tweeted out maybe a few weeks ago. Maybe it was a month ago. Maybe it was longer than that. But I remember you were agreeing with him, saying yo, I wish I could do a long set. I wish I could do a 6-hour set and whatnot. And I, as a DJ coming up nowadays, is that just impossible to have nowadays, to really just DJ from open to close at a venue? Is that something? Because us coming into the game, that's how we came into the game. We had to DJ from open to close. But probably the opportunities now is really, just doing 1-hour sets with all of these DJs piled onto an event. And I'm wondering, how is the game right now?
I mean, depending on the events that you're doing, that's, the normal standard is an hour, maximum 2 hours. You're not really seeing DJs doing like MOMA does 6-hour sets anymore. One, I don't think a lot of DJs where I'm from have the capacity to even last that long, or have the range to even last that long. Yeah. So yeah, that's just become the standard, just 1 to 2 hour sets. And that's pretty much it. I actually did a 4-hour set at Rise Radio. MOMA actually inspired that.
Wow.
Yo, and I was tired by like hour 2. I'm like, God damn, I'm like still standing. I got 2 hours left to go. Like, but you know, I pushed through to it.
But you're high energy out the gate. You know,
Yeah.
you're high energy out the gate. Sometimes I'm like, damn, Dana's been killing it. She must have been on for 2 hours. She's been on for 17 minutes, right? Because you're just like burning shit down, you know. But
Yeah.
I think in the space of 1 hour sets, that's exactly how you're supposed to do it. You know, you just got to come out the gate strong. But in the span, when you're doing like longer sets, you have to pace yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to take some off the gas, and you see the DJs in the crowd looking at you like, why is he playing this corny shit? I'm like, bro, we're here for another 5.5 hours. Like,
Right.
you have no clue what we're doing. We're pacing this so we don't burn the people's energy out and don't burn our energy out, you know?
Dana, when you did the 4-hour set though, isn't that like the most gratifying shit? Like it's like the best feeling when you do like this long set and you're like, that was amazing. It's like, to me, it beats doing an hour set. Like I could have had the craziest hour set anywhere and it would have been turned. But when you do 4 hours or 5 hours, it's like, there's this gratification that you have. Like, wow, like you're like emotionally, physically tired, but it's just like, it's just like you just played like a finals game, like the playoffs or some shit, right?
Yeah, certainly. I threw my hands up when I was finished, like, wow, like I did it. Like I was so, you know, happy. And I got to play a lot of music that I, you know, normally wouldn't play at the events that I play at, which, you know, that took me back. It was like, wow, like I really should start digging again, because that's how I started, by not really playing the typical stuff, you know? So that inspired me to want to start digging again and just, you know, playing differently. So
At Rise Radio, is there an audience or is this like a live stream?
oh, it's both actually. So it's a live stream, but you can have people coming in and out, grabbing food, hanging out in the back, or standing in front of you and just vibing out with you. So it's both, mixture of both.
What I try to tell a lot of DJs is like, with these 6-hour sets or 7-hour sets, all you really got to do is get through the first 3.5 hours. I know it doesn't sound like that easy, but that's all you got to do. Because the remaining 3 hours is a walk in the park. Because if you got everybody grooving with you halfway through, after that, you can literally play anything. You play Gap Band, Outstanding, they're singing along. Shaka Khan, like records that maybe would not break the room open in the first 3 hours. Everything's a banger in the second half of the party, because everyone bought into what you're doing, and they're progressively getting drunker. Like that's literally part of the game, you know? And sometimes I'm looking at the crowd and I'm yelling at Sinclair and Maine. I'm like, why are they so sober? What's going on? And they're like, well, they only have like 2 bartenders on this side. Nobody can get a drink. And I'm like, y'all are making my life really hard. Like I'm at the point of the night where I need everyone to be lit. You know what I'm saying? So I can play like some Soldier Boy or whatever, you know. Yeah. But 6-hour sets, we got to demystify them. They're not that hard. You just got to get through the first half, and then in the second half you can virtually do what you want as long as you played well. I
feel like the first time you do a 4 to 6 hour set, you pretty much got the grasp of like, oh shit, I know what to do next time. And then as you keep doing it, you're like, I know what to do, because it's just getting over that first one.
We knew what to do because we heard DJs in the club, right?
Yeah,
we heard like. I'm like, all right, so you're going to open up with like some classics R&B. Oh, now we're playing John B. Okay, now we're playing a little bit newer R&B. Okay, I get it. Oh, now we're playing old school classics. Everybody's dancing really hard. Oh, and now we're playing Busta Rhymes, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. And I'm like, it's 12:30. The party started. You felt it, right? And then at some point, they brought in like the early dance hall set that everybody started playing at midnight.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's an important point that was there at that time. You know, Dana, let me know if you're done hearing about this old man shit. But like at the time, there was like some. At the time, there was some structure, right, that we all followed, because it was like we took them down. Or it was like classics, R&B, hip hop, and then towards the end of the night, it was like anything goes. It was like classic '80s. You could like mix it all up. And it was a vibe walking in. And then that was in New York. And then when I came to Vegas, it was just a whole nother, because we were still doing 6-hour sets in Vegas, but it was a whole other approach. It was just like guns blazing from open to close, because everyone was.
Well, we're from 12 o'clock from 12 to close, and the club will open at 10:30. But by 12 o'clock, you got to fucking get that room going.
Yeah, no, but even come on, going. But fam, there were some times in those big rooms at 11, it was fucking packed. You had to just go in, but not go in. You know what I mean? Like, so it was like nonstop. It wasn't like, oh, I could just play some.
You couldn't warm up.
Nah,
you could take an hour and a half to warm up. You just got to go in right away.
Yeah,
and keep it going.
Yeah, till like. I think our hours were like 10:30 to 4, and then sometimes 5 or 6 a.m. So we were doing crazy sets in Vegas back then, especially when like Prince would show up at the end of the night, and we'd have to keep going till I don't know.
But just before we get off this old man shit, I'll say one thing about like the 6-hour sets. When I used to play 6-hour sets, coming up as like just a working DJ, every time the house lights came on at 4, the room was packed. You know, everybody was still whining on people. People
didn't want to leave.
But then one thing that happened when I started getting on at 12:30 or 1, I would find it a lot harder to keep the entire room till 4. You know, I'd just be like, I just got to get to 3. I'll make it to 3:15. I did good. All right, it's 3:30. It's clearing out. I did a good job, right? But it's one thing about people going on a journey with one DJ who kind of has an idea of how the night's gonna go.
Right.
And every time when I used to do the whole night by myself, it was just amazing when the house lights came on and you could see everybody sweating, hair all fucked up, some dude trying to like back some girl or whatever. And that's the one thing that with these sets, the longer you play, the easier it gets. You know, it's almost like a runner. They have this thing when people run, they call it the runner's high. Yeah. So you're running, you get through like mile 1 or 2, mile 3, like I'm done. I got nothing left. And then you catch this high midway through mile 3, and then you go for like another 3 miles, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly, that's so true, because there's also, I think it's a runner's term when they hit a wall, right? When they just can't go any. And I feel like sometimes when you DJing, you could just hit a wall. You're like, I don't know what to play next. Like, holy
that's
shit.
That's the worst feeling.
Yo, I literally have nightmares, of like, I've had this nightmare like multiple times of me DJing and I'm spinning and I don't know what to play next and the song runs out and I still
that's a common dream, right? That's a common dream amongst DJs.
Have you?
I just had that dream last night.
I've had that. Where I'm like in front of a huge crowd and I'm trying to search on my laptop, but nothing's coming up. I'm searching.
But then the song runs out and it's dead air and everyone's just looking at me and I'm still thinking like I don't know what to play.
So that physically happened to me once because I was DJing my homegirl's birthday party and it was like all edibles. You know, like the food was infused. You know, it was edibles everywhere, right? Wow. And I had 2 of these like cookies or something, and I can't DJ high. That's my thing. And I was so high, nothing came to me. The only song that came to me was Gypsy Woman. La da dee, la dee da, la da dee, la. And I'm playing it and it's running out and I ran it back from the top, right? And then I was just like, I don't know what to play. At the time, Disclosure was huge. And I just typed Disclosure. And I played every Disclosure song by order of BPM for about 2 hours, right? Everyone was so high. When I got off the set, in my mind, I was like, this is the worst DJ performance of my life. And everybody was like, yo, you killed it. You were out of your mind. You were unconscious out there. I was like, y'all some high-ass motherfuckers. I played Gypsy Woman twice and then ran through 15 Disclosure records by BPM.
There's something about being on their level, too. Like, you were on their level in that moment.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like we talked about that. Like sometimes just having a drink for me just gets me on like a low level with the crowd and I'm good.
Yeah.
Versus being like this sober dude in the DJ booth trying to like DJ to these drunk people. You know what I mean?
Dana,
Can I share something that happened to me at Elsewhere?
Yeah. Actually, I want to ask Dana a quick question. Dana, do you drink when you DJ? I've actually been sober for the past couple weeks. I've been like trying to DJ sober and it's really it's one of the hardest things I've had to do, yo. It's
not easy. I definitely drink, not all the time though, but I do more than I don't. But it's not easy DJing sober for me. It's not easy because you got to like deal with drunk people in your face and you know, having that block, like, oh my God, I don't know what to play next.
Yeah.
When that happens to me, like 7 times out of 10, I'll just completely cut the music and talk on the mic while I'm looking.
For real.
Oh, yeah. Wait, you got to hear her mic game. Her mic game is incredible, bro. Incredible. Like she connect with any audience. You know, her voice is just as good like on the mic. Some people don't really have a good microphone voice. Her voice is amazing on the mic. And she can sell anything, you know. Sometimes I'm envious. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, she can fucking sell anything out there. You know, that's a superpower.
Thank you. Our voices are instruments in itself, so I utilize it as much as I can, and it saves me. I'm not gonna lie, it saves me a lot of the times when I don't know what to play next. I'll cut the whole shit.
It's so funny how it's like crucial now to be on the mic, yo. Like you cannot not be on the mic now. Where like literally almost the whole decade of 2000s, like no one was on the mic. It was like a fucking rare thing for anybody to be, especially on the fucking West Coast, man. You never heard motherfuckers on the mic on the West Coast ever. Now it's like everyone's on the mic on the West Coast.
EDM DJs are on the mic.
Yeah,
you know, festival EDM DJs are on the mic now. They used to just like clap. Right?
Yeah.
And now they're just like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, let's go. We got to give them something else to say besides 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
They just gotta change the languages, you know, like do. They have to do like in Spanish and French and all in German, and just change this shit up. That's literally all I see in an EDM recap. It's like when the EDM recap is like 1, 2, 3. And then fucking
and then it's like compressed air, so you can't even hear the song that's playing.
Like, oh man, but wait. So Dana, are you looking forward to doing more sets like, you know, from 4 to 6? Is that even possible and shit in New York now?
Yeah, I think I'm at a point in my career where I kind of want people just want to come out for me, you know, like as an artist. I'm working on original like music and content, and you know, my mentor, he mentioned something to me. I'll never forget this. I tell him this to this day. Do you guys remember Pacha's, the nightclub Pacha's, like back in the day?
Pacha, like on the West Side?
No, in New York, when like Pacha's was open. It was like a really big nightclub, like full of like EDM DJs.
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah,
Pacha,
yeah.
Pacha Club, yeah. I got a gig there like once. It was like in the basement, and I was like really excited to tell like my mentor at the time. I'm like, yo, like I'm DJing at Pacha's. I'm so excited. And he was like, yeah, that's cool, but it would be even better if all those people came out for you. So that always stuck with me, you know? So I think I'm at that point in my career right now where I kind of just want like, you know, people coming out for me, moving as an artist, you know? So I'm doing that transition between artist and DJ. So,
yeah, I mean, they complement one another. And then the fact that you have your own parties, TYC, you know, that means you can program yourself to DJ 5-6 hours for whatever you want to do, you know?
Sure. Yeah, certainly.
It's been an interesting thing, like DJs, you know, becoming the front man and having followings like that, like a strong following like that. So here's the question I have. As you start, like Dana, you were saying like moving as an artist, like I want to be kind of DJing like an artist. Do you have a fear of losing those like working DJ roots sometimes? Like I feel like sometimes they can be a disconnect with that shit. Sometimes if you're not on like the working DJ, like kind of just constantly, you know, taking these certain gigs and treating yourself like an artist, do you think there's a disconnect? Because like recently there was a tweet from K-Tronada, right, that went viral on fucking Twitter. He was basically, I don't know, a lot of working DJs felt like he was shitting on them and blah, blah, blah. But K-Tronada tweeted out, you know, DJs have to step up their selection now because, boy, if I hear What's Love one more time, and everyone just went at this motherfucker like, who the fuck is K-Tronada to talk about this, about working DJs and what the fuck they playing and what's being played in the clubs when he's not technically a DJ. He's more of a producer DJ.
First of all, let me say I love What's Love. I'm always gonna rock out when I hear that record. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care if I'm the most famous DJ out ever or if I'm still, you know, local. It doesn't matter. I love What's Love. Yeah, I do think there's a sort of a disconnect. And you asked if I'm afraid of losing that working DJ hustle. Is that what you said?
Well, it's just that perspective, you know what I'm saying? Like you can get disconnected if you're just doing all these big events, you blow up and you're not doing the working shit, and then you just kind of you get disconnected. It's like celebrity life, man. Like they just get disconnect. They don't know what regular motherfuckers are doing. I mean, we had an issue with this like years ago between A-Track kind of talking about the basically the hustle of working DJs, and everyone was like, yo, you never been a working DJ, so why the fuck you speaking on that shit? That was between A-Track and Rockticon at one point.
I mean, yeah, that is something that I am afraid of, coming across, but I don't know until I get there, man. I don't know. So right now Dana Lou's still a working DJ, and I'm my ear still to the streets. So I'm just working every day, and we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I'll tell you. For me, I think it applies to me more because the older I get, the more I get disconnected with shit, and I have to like truly make an effort. So shout out to my guy Millhouse. Millhouse knows when I was in Zanzibar in South Africa, I was just playing Afro beats and dancehall and African music and what have you. And then I came back to the States in April. I was like, Millhouse, I need to know what the fuck is going on. And he gave me a Dropbox of everything that was new, a lot of New York drill shit, a lot of Moneybag Yo. I was like, this guy came up during the pandemic, right? And a lot of like Lil Baby stuff. And I went through it and I was like, man, I don't want to be no old head. But I'm like, there was no way that people can be into this Moneybag Yo shit, right? That was in my head. I was like, I'm not feeling it. And Millhouse was like, nah, man, this shit goes hard. I think it goes hard on social media. I haven't heard anyone play Moneybag Yo all summer. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, a lot of the new music that people were playing was either like Afro beats, Afro-Caribbean, subcultural shit. And then, Drake, whenever Drake drops something new, a lot of the women rappers, whether it's like, City Girls, Megan Thee Stallion, there's a whole lot of money in this motherfucker. That's the shit that people were playing. Nobody was truly playing all this like Lil Baby, Moneybag Yo. And there's a whole bunch of artists that I have in a crate that I never touched because every time I dropped it, it bombed, So I have to do a concerted effort to like sit down with people like Millhouse, people like Dana Lou, and be like, what the fuck is going on? And then when I listen to it, I really have to like take that word as the gospel because sometimes I don't hear it. But what's that? There's a really big song. Is it called Back to something?
Back in Blood?
Back in Blood. So that's huge, right?
Right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But when I heard it, when I heard it in that folder,
that's Pooh Shiesty and Little Dirk.
Okay, so a lot of Pooh Shiesty shit I haven't played all summer, right? But when Millhouse gave me that folder and I heard Back in Blood, it did not stand out from the other songs. But he was like, no, that's the one. Yeah. And he was right. That was the one. But I didn't know that the second verse was the one,
second verse, right? The Little Dirk verse, yeah.
So the first time I played it at Everyday People, it was so flat. I mixed out. I was like, I'm getting the fuck out of this immediately. And then Millhouse was like, no, you got to play the second verse. So then eventually I played the second verse and I saw the reaction. But if your ears are not to the streets, like it's hard to know that stuff. Luckily I DJ a lot with Silent Addy. He's up on everything. Yeah. So I get to hear it like firsthand.
Shout out to Silent Addy, man. He was killing it. Well, I mean, how do y'all feel about that Kitchenada tweet? And just everything that's going on with Twitter right now, like, throughout the whole year, like DJ Twitter's been like canceling songs. They've been saying, Essence played out. They've just been listing a whole bunch of songs and shit that is played out.
Swag Surfing was one too. Swag Surfing was trying to be they're trying to cancel that shit off LA. Any DJ in LA should not play Swag Surfing. That's what they were saying and shit. But it's funny, I think What's Love, particularly that song, is one of the forefront records for a whole age group of people that are now throwing the parties, especially those mid-2000 parties. What's Love is a staple. So trying to be like, trying to kind of like shun that song off is kind of real crazy to do so.
And also, it didn't hurt that it was just Ja Rule and Fat Joe did verses, and that's like both of their songs.
Yeah, and to me, Fat Joe, Ja Rule, as much as you want to clown Ja Rule, him, Fat Joe, Ashanti, those are like local New York City treasures. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely,
don't go
man.
at these people. Like, that's our youth. Like, that's such a golden era for us coming up. So I just think that tweet was misplaced, because, you know, producer DJs, they get booked to play their own music. So they walk into a room and they have a captive audience. When you have a captive audience, you can play whatever you want. You play your own music, and then you can play your influences. So you're only digging from these bags where everything is just amazingly esoteric and like original and all of that. So they play to a captive audience. Mainstream DJs is the opposite. Our crowd is totally inattentive, right? We got to get their attention, and we got to play the songs they like. We got to play the songs that they grew up on, and that it's virtually a karaoke night, right? And when we got them, when we really got them, then we can introduce something new, something like super cool and esoteric. Yeah. But we can't stay in that bag for too long because we're gonna lose their focus. So it's apples and oranges, you know. Somebody like K-Tronada shouldn't be talking about what's love, and you know, and then like some guy who's just slaving at some random bar playing to NYU kids shouldn't be trying to introduce some deep UK remix or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And
I think it was funny how like working club DJs didn't give a shit about shitting on K-Tronada and just like talking shit to him on Twitter. And then you would see these other DJs who like really look up to K-Tronada, and they were finding nice ways of being like, yo, you kind of wrong for this tweet. You sound kind of like crazy for saying this shit. Like these motherfuckers, someone that were like totally like, wait, someone that was saying, let me read some of this shit. It was pretty funny. From Shy Dooley, if you're a DJ, don't ever play any popular songs. Yeah, the peasants might like it, but the high fashion influence in the corner will hear it. Then your career is over. And then shout to C-Flow. He said, non-working DJs, celeb headliners, etc., telling working DJs what they should or shouldn't play just painfully shows how out of touch they are. This is K-Tronada's response. I see people getting mad at this one, resulting saying that I can't DJ after all. Y'all totally missed the point. There's a lot of amateurs that get a gig and then they play that song. Something's wrong with them. I just want to push their creativity when it comes to their song selection.
You know, he tried to kind of like walk it back a little, but you can't deny the intention behind the original tweet. It's like he heard it and he was like, oh, another fucking working stiff playing the same ass boring song. And that's why he tweeted it. And that's why I hate Twitter, man. I do. Because Twitter takes you in like the darkest corners of people's minds, and it's usually negative. That's why I try not to tweet anything like negative. Like my draft folder in Twitter is full of shit that I would never send, you know? And it's not even like controversial. I'm always like, all right, if you were to read this tweet in the morning, would you say to yourself, oh, he's just an indulgent asshole? I'm like, yeah, delete. And people can't help themselves. Somebody as big and rich and famous, and he has awards, you know? K-Tronada has awards.
He has a Grammy.
Shouldn't be tweeting some shit.
Grammys.
Like yeah, he has a Grammy.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be A, shitting on the DJ who played that song, and B, shitting on Fat Joe, Ja Rule, and Ashanti indirectly. Like, just you should have been elevated beyond all of this. That's all I got.
I have a question. How often is he spinning? I've never seen him spin. He
gets booked for private events and festivals. His street number right now is like 100 racks, 150K. Like, he's out of here. You know what I'm saying?
I believe he went on tour, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or hasn't started yet.
I always think it's crazy when motherfuckers in his like position and his stature right now has to like say something about something so minuscule. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was in a lounge, and for you to tweet out shitting on a DJ about playing Fat Joe, it doesn't make any sense. Like, that would be the last shit I would say.
Ego, man. Ego's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Fake humility is a motherfucker. That's my least favorite thing out there. Fake humble people, you know? And that's the good thing about Twitter, is because everybody, when you meet them in real life, is mad humble. Oh, big brother MOMA, you're my hero, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And then you read their tweets, you know what I'm saying? And you'd be like, if you conduct yourself with such humility in real life, but then you tweet like such egotistical shit,
yeah,
then I know that's fake humility when I see you, you know? And then I know not to fuck with you. So a lot of the people that's like on Twitter all day long, they got to know that you can't separate your Twitter persona from who you are.
Well, I was gonna ask that. Should I be separating the motherfucker from his Twitter? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, should I be separating that shit?
Nah. Tweets is literally it's a look. It's like being John Malkovich, bro. It's like being in someone's head. You can separate people from their Instagram because Instagram is all fake. You know what I'm saying?
But Twitter's like
on Instagram is a photo shoot.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy because some of the most like, to me, some of the most like biggest talkingest shit in this motherfuckers I know and I see on Twitter. When I see them in person or when I meet them, they're so soft spoken. They're like so quiet and chill. And I've talked to them about their tweets and they're like, nah, that's just a tweet. That's just like, that's just Twitter.
Yeah.
So I've been wondering like, all right, should I start separating motherfuckers from like the Twitter, from their social media? Do I start separating that shit or is it?
I don't think so. I think maybe you could have 10 years ago when all this shit was popping, Instagram, Twitter. But now it's just part of everybody's life. Like the virtual world is as important as the actual world. It's like a 50-50 split, For some people, they're more virtual than in real life. But for me, it's just one package. It's everything is part of the energy that you put out there. Every tweet, every Instagram post, the shit you say on the mic at a party, everything is part of your energy.
I spent pretty much all of September kind of being off of socials and like I haven't been tweeting. I haven't really been posting on Instagram, which is probably horrible for my DJ career, but and probably horrible for the podcast as well. But I just took a break for a month because I was just like, I just didn't want to deal with the shit. But like, it's like the best shit ever not to have to do that shit and to like have to like interact with some of these motherfuckers and then not having been on these apps and then like seeing what people are saying on Twitter and all of this shit. It's just like, yo, this motherfuckers are crazy. Like they're really like, they're just tapped into the matrix too. They've been tapped in and plugged in too long. I feel like.
I mean, Instagram is work. You gotta be on Instagram if you're selling anything, a party, music. That's work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Twitter is 100% recreational. Like literally, you're on there. You're giving your time to the platform. You're sharing your thoughts for free. There's like a lot of reporters, like journalists, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, all those people, CNN. Twitter is part of their work, right?
I think
for everybody else is.
I think there's a DJ Twitter world that really complements their brand and their and their career.
I think it's just a glorified chat room because it's not like. I don't think, in my opinion, it's just.
Nah, I feel like for some DJs when they put up routines or when they put up mixes or they put up like certain joints or memes, like they go viral off of that shit and they gain followers,
right.
yo.
Well, you're 100% right, but at that point they're using Twitter like Instagram, right?
Pretty much.
If you're bringing in content, that was never the initial intent for Twitter. Twitter was just like 140 characters, right? But if you're bringing in videos and importing your TikToks and your reels, at that point you're kind of using it like Instagram. I'm talking about the people who are just like sharing their stream of consciousness every day. There's no money in that.
I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of dudes who navigate on Twitter and that are killing it on Twitter for some reason more than they are on Instagram. And they have like there's this DJ Twitter that exists that's just deep in the trenches. But I do see a lot of producer DJs being more successful in that realm than like club DJs, if that makes any sense.
I agree.
But I also think producer DJs, I feel like they support each other. You know what I'm saying? Because they know that they need this platform to keep pushing their remixes and everything and have it like retweet. It's kind of like when motherfuckers were commenting on other motherfuckers' flyers on Instagram to like show support when really no one gives a fuck about your flyer on Instagram. So they were doing like this fake support shit. What do you call it? I want to close this shit out, but Dana, what do you got planned for the rest of the year? You got the November 6th, right?
Yeah, November 6th, we have TYC, and I'm going to be dropping 3 more mixes. So I'm doing like a mix series called Back to the Basics. So. I dropped the first one. It was like a dancehall and soca kind of edition. I'm dropping the next one. It's going to be reggaeton, dembow, and more. I'm dropping that on Thursday, which I'm very, very excited to drop, by the way. I had a lot of fun with that one. And I'm going to be dropping about like maybe 1 or 2 remixes before the year's over. And that's it for me for the year. I apologize. I'm also dropping merch as well in about a few weeks. So I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be in New York.
What's the best way to keep up with all your stuff? Is it Instagram? You have a website or Twitter? What's the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, you could. The best way right now is definitely Instagram. So at DJ Dana Lou, you can find me on there. You can find me on Twitter with my conscious thoughts or random whatever I'm, thinking about at the time. Also find me on SoundCloud, YouTube. I'm starting that up. I'm gonna be doing some vlog series like next year. So yeah, DJ Dana Lou across all platforms.
Dope.
Nice.
Right.
Yo, Mo, what's good with you? I saw you at the Dreamville tour with Boss performing, killing it with Cole on stage.
How was that? That was like a home game. That was a family reunion.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Barclays Center sold out. Obviously Boss used to open for Cole, but they have so many songs together. He's like an integral part of the show, and he'll come out midway through the show, do like 4 or 5 songs with Cole and some of his own songs too, which is, and it's dope to see like the audience, the whole Barclays, like with their hands in the air.
I just saw nothing but recap videos of you see the drop top bitch stop playing with me. Now this side, now that side sing it. And then this side
record
sing
going up.
Yeah.
A record going up.
Damn, I remember seeing Cole at the not the Garden, but the side Garden. What was it called?
The theater.
It was
the
called
theater.
The theater. I remember seeing him there,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Come a long way from there, man. From selling that out to selling out the fucking Barclays
One of
Center."
his first shows was
Wow.
when I was doing the Good Spot in 2009, I think, and they had just signed to Jay-Z. No, they had just finished Workout for me.
Oh shit!
And I was at Deity in Brooklyn. And they're like, yo, we think we got the single. I was like, yo, pull up. I'm at Deity. Yeah, they wanted to hear it in the club, right?
Yeah.
And bumped it in the club. And, it was like, it was getting a good reaction.
Damn, man.
And towards the very end of the track, the Paula Abdul part came on, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, why y'all save this for the end? I was like, this shit needs to go to the front, And I think they put it in the front of the record after that. And that's how they set off the record.
They do.
But then later on that year, I booked him at the Good Spot, my Monday night residency. And, I had like the little stage with the stripper pole. It is a small room, 150 people, and I was like, yeah, just come through and do a few songs. It was so hectic. It was so like low budget. I didn't even introduce him. I didn't even introduce Cole on the mic.
Wow. Man.
Nobody really knew him. And I'm just queuing up the record. And I remember Cole was on the stage and he was like, damn, Mo, not even going to introduce me. And I'm in the booth. I didn't even have a mic. I was like, you have the only mic. And when I tell you, he killed it. It was just so uncanny to get up there during a dance party when no one knows you without an introduction and just rap.
Wow.
But he is so good. Like, he killed it.
Yeah.
And then to see, like, I don't know, this is 11, 12 years later, entire Barclays sold out.
Yeah, man.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
Fucking nuts. What do you call it? What do you got planned for what do you call it? The rest of the year? Are we gonna see EP come back for a fall winter or nah?
I think we're gonna try to do the usual Art Basel, like we usually do.
Oh, in Miami? Yeah.
Yeah. In December. And I'm working on something for November. Oh, we have our yearly roller disco for Halloween. It takes place on October 31st.
Oh, that's right.
Knockdown Center. It'll be huge. I mean, 2,000, 2,500 people. We got about like 700 or 800 skates, and then everybody else is just going to be like hanging out and partying. But we're going to announce that this week. And then I got a special thing I'm trying to do for November, which we've never done with everyday people. But when I announce it, it'll be kind of cool. And then personally, I got a residency starting at House of Yes. I think like first Fridays or second Fridays. The first one's October 8th.
Wait, what is House of Yes? It's in New York, right?
Yeah, House of Yes is in Bushwick. And it's a club that's a hybrid between dance club and like performance space. The people who who founded it are like dancers, but like real performance type, somewhere between like aerial acrobatics and burlesque. And it's a space that's very like, that's open to everybody.
Yeah, I see Ellie Escobar DJing there all the time, and the party is crazy.
Yeah, Ellie's the number one DJ at House of Yes and just about every other venue in New York, but he kills it over there. And I'm doing a new night where I'm playing the whole night by myself. It's gonna be called Afro Musica. And really what I'm trying to do is kind of expand on the Afro beats and the Amapiano, which, you know, when a new genre I'm into is kind of part of the mainstream, I just kind of park it there and I go for the other genres that's behind it. So Afro House, you know, is huge. And it's already taken over parts of Europe and Ibiza and all of that. It's not really big in the States, but there's an element of it that I think is really soulful and like less techie than what's going on in Ibiza that I think we can introduce to the New York audiences. Like, you know, Black Coffee will be at Brooklyn Mirage, 3,500, 4,000 people out there. So he's the biggest DJ in the world, but he plays a very techie, super deep brand of Afro house because it's kind of got to cater to white people, which is he's crossed over now. But there's all the stuff that's kind of like more grassroots. A lot of it from South Africa as well. So I want to introduce that, but I don't want it to be like too heady or too esoteric. I'm still going to play like some disco hits and like some sing along diva house to just keep everybody involved because it's a Friday night after all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's at House of Yes.
Sounds dope.
Are you going to launch Dance 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 with Ellie Escobar at
That's coming back on Wednesday, October 13th.
Oh wow.
It's going to come back weekly.
Dope.
At LeBain.
Dope.
And you know, like with everything with COVID and how things have been, I think we're just gonna go weekly till the end of the year. You know, like I'm really into like doing like seasonal residencies. Like, boom, we're gonna do this every week for like 3 months, and then maybe January, February comes around, give it a rest or whatever. Like, I'm less focused on like, oh, we gotta do this every week, every first of the month. Because nothing's promised, you know what I mean?
Fuck, man. It would be good to see you. When I come to New York, it would be good to see you and Ellie spinning together again at LeBain.
Facts, man. Every Wednesday at LeBain.
And I'm gonna try to check out Dana when I come back to New York. And then I'll report to the podcast exactly how ill you killed it. And I want to see if you crowd surf this time when I see you over there in person.
Yeah, man. Would love that.
What do you call it? Is there anything else we need to, and you guys want to ask or anything or whatnot?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah. Dana, how was your first R.O.A.D podcast? Was it was cool?
It's great, man. Thank you guys for having me. I'm honored to say the least. So thank you for having me. Seriously, this was great.
It's great to have you. I'm glad MOMA, you know, he wanted you on, and I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see what happens, you know? And I think it was good. So it was really great having y'all, man. Mo, I'll probably see you in New York in a couple days. I'm on my way over there. And Dana, I'll try to check you out. And then
we gotta go get tacos at that truck.
We're gonna
go please.
On the I didn't even know they had that shit on the block. Now I'm gonna go. Now I definitely go.
What are the tacos that are good there, Dana? You know, I'm Mexican, I gotta ask.
Cecina, I love lengua. I like cactus, nopal, but a lot of
nopales?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Those are my top 3 at that truck.
Nice.
I'm gonna go check it. I'm gonna go when I go
back. Cricket, you gotta eat the nopales one because you're not eating meat. Nopales is the one for you.
I'm over there.
Oh, it's good.
I love some good tripa though. I like that shit.
You can't eat that right now.
No, I can't eat it, but I like that shit. What do you call it? Yo, thank you so much for coming through, man. And I'll see y'all in New York. All right.
Peace, man. Thanks for having us.
If you want to watch more episodes from R.O.A.D Podcast, click either links on the left or the right. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page and get updated on new uploads throughout the week. Peace.